Hello, everybody. This is Clint Macro with Meet the Pressers, and we're here at the 2026 NRA annual meeting in Houston, Texas, at the Voices of the Second Amendment area, specifically at the Meet the Pressers Gun Freedom Radio Studio of Liberty. And we have some very special guests here today. We have an NRA board member and a distinguished person within the gun industry, and we have Jackie, his wife. So we have Scott Emsile and Jackie Emsile. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Clint. It's great to be here.
Cool. So tell me, what's it like to be a board member of the NRA at this day and age?
It's interesting. I'm just ending the first year of a 3-year term. I got elected for the first time last April, and it's been a learning experience. But it's a lot different, I think, than the NRA that everybody remembered way back in the old days. We've made a lot of changes over the past year. We're doing absolutely fabulous right now, for really lack of a better term. We ended 2025 in the black for the first time in 5 or 6 years, which was great. And this year in the first quarter, we're in the black. So that works out. That's perfect. We haven't done this in a lot of years, and we're really working hard to turn this around.
Good. Yeah, I mean, when you look at the history of the NRA, controversy and strife has been, an organization that's been around that long, you get cycles, things happen.
Yep.
I can definitely say, working with a lot of different organizations that have a board membership and leadership, there's always going to be some level of friction. But I think that's kind of what makes an organization powerful and strong. But when it gets to be very divisive, that can be interesting.
And that can be very interesting at times. I mean, we have our moments sometimes in some of the meetings that I sit in, and they'll go back and forth, and we step out of the meeting and everybody's friends again.
Oh yeah.
And that's a great thing.
Yeah.
We can talk amongst ourselves and bounce ideas off of people before we take them into a full committee, or even before the board, or before the membership.
I've definitely seen, talking to the guys at education and training, there's more vim and vigor towards putting assets towards education and training. I definitely know, having worked with the guys at ILA, there's a lot more cooperation with state level organizations. I'm the vice president of FOAC, Firearms Owners Against Crime in Pennsylvania, which is our Pennsylvania century. It's a Second Amendment organization, but it's more about Article 1, Section 21 of the Pennsylvania Constitution.
Okay.
Our Second Amendment. And we've done some great work with the guys at ILA over the last couple of years. And traditionally, that wasn't always the case. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, there was a little more friction.
Friction with it. Yeah. And ILA, they're doing such yeoman work right now with everything. It's just been really, really tough. They haven't had the true amount of people that I really think that they do need. They've gotten much better now. It'd be great to have one person from ILA in every state, but we just can't do that right now.
Yeah.
But between everything going on the federal level, we're still fighting for HR 38. That's the Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act. Virginia right now, what happened in Virginia was an absolute travesty.
Yeah.
With everything. So we're already gearing up for some lawsuits there. And just all the other states that are going on and everything like that. It's tough. I live in Florida now. I moved down there 2 years ago. I'm originally from New York.
Okay.
I spent my entire life in New York. So I got a pretty good idea of New York politics, and even that's gone downhill in the past 5 years.
Yeah, just when you think it can't get any worse. Huh?
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, you had mentioned Virginia, and I think that is that's going to be a huge fight in Virginia, and it's going to be interesting to see how some of the case law comes out of that when the lawsuits start to fly. But let that be a lesson to all gun owners. Pennsylvania, we got a midterm coming up where all of the representatives in the House are up for grab and half of the Senate. If we lose the Senate in Pennsylvania, we will be worse off than Virginia in just a matter of months. So gun owners need to register to vote and get out and vote for pro-gun people. And you can get resources from FOAC and from ILA to learn better who is a pro-gun candidate and who really isn't. So Get registered to vote. If you know a gun owner to get registered to vote, get them to register. And if they can't make it out to the polls, if your state does it, get them have them sign up for a mail-in ballot.
Yeah.
So
just let me tag on it. If you are registered to vote, get out and vote.
Yeah.
That's always been part of our. That's has been traditionally for sometimes in the sporting community as a whole, not just gun owners, but hunters and that sort of thing. They figured a vote doesn't matter. Elections have consequences. Every vote that we can get matters. Virginia just proved that.
If you think your vote doesn't matter, look at how much elected officials and candidates pay to run. They pay a lot of money for your vote.
Yep.
So there's a lot of value there. And that's really our opportunity to rid the swamp of the alligators, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
People talk about term limits, and it's like, well, you know what? If we all actually researched and knew what our elected officials are doing, we went to the polls, there's your term limit, vote them out of there.
Yeah.
You would look like you would say something.
It's actually the democratic part, the democracy part of our democratically elected constitutional republic. It's the thing it's one of the few things that we can do as citizens to make sure that we get good people in elected office, and that cannot be stressed enough. So I'm going to put out the challenge to all the gun clubs, the gun ranges, put all the gun shops. Start finding out, even if you have to put out a list of all the pro-gun candidates and say, take this, or you put it in your pocket when you walk in a voting booth, use that as your reference sheet, put it back in your pocket when you leave.
Yeah. We provide those in Pennsylvania, FOAC, 2apa.org, and look up the voter. During the primaries, we will recommend a candidate. We recommend, but during the general election, we'll endorse them. And we have a really, really, really hard, tricky test that they take, a questionnaire. They fill that out every year. We generally, like the NRA, will endorse an incumbent if they have been pro-gun. But we make them take that test every time. And we also look at their voting record. We look what they're saying, and that factors into our rating as well. But Jack, you were talking about being involved with the election process. Tell me what you're doing with the women's program.
I was absolutely honored to have been brought on to the Women's Programs Committee. The NRA actually has 42 different committees. Did you know that?
I didn't know it was that many, but yes. I knew there were a lot of committees.
There are a lot of different committees, and when I found out about that, and especially what they do, and with President Bill Lockenberg and with Mark Vaughn and with Ryan Marshall, what they've decided to do was to expand the Women's Programs Committee to include not just scholarships and awards, but to expand their responsibilities to help the American women gun owners and American women who are exploring firearms ownership, not quite sure if they want to take that step, because it's a deeply personal decision, and to help her connect with the vast resources of the NRA. In other words, let NRA help you. And we will go with you as far as you need us to go with you. If you take a Women on Target instructional shooting clinic, which is just a day on the range and a day in the classroom at the range, and you say, you know what, firearms ownership isn't for me. To me, that's a touchdown, because they realize that they're making their own decision based on their own experience rather than somebody on a television telling them exactly what they can do. So this we now have a pier just outside, right next to Eddie Eagle. So if you're here in Houston, come on over, check out the lobby. And even if you're not a member of the NRA, it's out in the lobby, so you can have access to that women's booth. We would absolutely love to have you stop by, come and talk with us. If no one is there at the booth, we've got a contact form that you can fill out, and you can leave for us, and we will follow up with you.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Definitely, if you look at the demographics of people who are taking more training and buying guns, the female population and the younger folks too. We're seeing a lot more Gen Zs and millennials, taking that step. As a matter of fact, I was doing a seminar earlier today for the Instructor Symposium, talking about using seminars as a means to drive traffic. And there's a whole host of people who are interested in firearms, but they're not going to sign up for a live fire class because they need more information and they don't own a gun yet. So my point was using some of the resources the NRA has with like the gun safety seminar and a few other things that they could use to drive more people, or get more people in, develop a relationship, help educate them, and help them to learn their unknown unknowns.
Right.
oh, I didn't know that, or I want to learn more about that. And that would be a way to maybe filter them into other training programs that are offered. But yeah, with the women especially, I find most women want to take a class or do some research before they get a license or buy a gun. And I used an analogy. My wife and I'll be married in October for 30 years.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Thank you. I've been buying her bras for more than 30 years. And you know what? She doesn't like any of them. But too often guys will say, here, take this gun. It's the same kind of thing. It's a very
Yes.
personal thing, as you said. So, to have people come in and learn about the action type, the pros and cons of different in context to, concealment or ease of use under stress, it helps them to be better consumers.
I just to piggyback on what you're saying, I've had so many conversations with gentlemen. They desperately want the woman of their world, their wife, their girlfriend, whoever she is. They want her to be safe, and they want to get her a gun. So a lot of times they'll make a mistake. They'll get her a big gun, a tiny little gun. They'll get her the wrong gun. My advice is get her a gift certificate.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, absolutely.
Get two things: a gift certificate to pay for a gun training course, and then excuse me, and then also a gift certificate or a gift card to a gun shop, and then drop her off at the gun shop, and then go have coffee or go have a beer. Leave her alone in the capable hands of the gun dealer. Let the gun dealer talk with her, figure out what she would like, what she doesn't want, and go from there.
Yeah, that's the gift that keeps on giving.
Oh,
Yes, it does.
So Scott, if you were king of the world for a moment, what would you do if you had complete control of the NRA and it was your decision? What were some of the things you'd like to see happen as time goes on?
Wow, boy, that's a tough one. There's as time goes on. I mean, obviously, we want to get out to more people. We need to get out to the Gen Zs, or not Gen X. I am Gen X, but Gen Zs, the millennials, things like that. We need so, and that's one of the things we are working on trying to figure out. And I think if the more that we can get them involved, not just in the firearms community, but also in the firearms political side of it, to let them realize that firearms aren't bad and things like that. That would be a great thing. Obviously, more training, more education is a great thing. I mean, the NRA, we've got a lot of good programs. It might be, training for the various basic pistol, basic rifle, shotgun, everything like that. They might be due for a refresh. We haven't refreshed them in a few years. So
yeah, actually, I did the instructor
I think they're working on
seminar.
And,
I actually recorded it for Marty, and they've got some red dot stuff coming out, and they've updated
Right.
some of the materials.
Yeah, they finally are now. They're finally starting to catch up with the way more people shoot. It's not the old revolver or semi-automatic with iron sights and that sort of thing. A lot more people are using red dots, I've noticed. A lot more of the handgun manufacturers are making them so you can put, they got the cutout plates on the semis. They've got them on revolvers now.
Yeah.
Which I've seen scopes on revolvers for hunting, but first time I've ever seen a red dot. So it was a few years back. So, and I think that's a great thing. Need to get more women involved. We need to get more women even involved in the NRA. We've got a good, I don't know what the count is right now. The current election, we just brought in four more women that have never been on the board before. So we're starting now to get a little bit more there. And then, on the ILA, it'd be great if we could sit there and just, way back like we used to do in the days, sitting before Congressman, how many postcards do you want to be sent to you when they don't agree with it? We just can't afford to do that anymore. So
Postcard campaigns are very effective.
Yes, they
right?
are.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. But it costs money.
Yeah.
See, that's part of what the problem is. So, and one of the
I actually may have some ideas on that. FOAC, we did a postcard campaign a couple of years ago, and it was pretty successful, and we did it in such a way that there wasn't a huge high cost. So maybe we can talk about that later on.
Yeah, maybe that's something that
Yeah.
we can talk. We can take over to John Comerford from ILA.
Yeah.
Because they're always looking. They do. One of the things that we've always had complaints about is I'm getting constant mailings from the NRA. 2, 3 a week.
Yeah.
So we are, well, especially with the cost of postage these days,
Yeah.
we're definitely trying to cut that back. But ILA still needs to put out a few more mailings than the NRA does properly. So we're going to see more than that, and anything we can do to help cut the cost what it's going to cost us to be able to do it. So yeah, maybe that's something that we can set something up with John or some of his people and
Found some
see what we can
ideas.
do. Yeah, that would be a great thing.
I tell you, one thing that's going to be great for communications is the NRA app.
The NRA app is absolutely, and that's why I brought this. These are little cards. I've got a pocket full of them that I'm handing out, so people can see.
There, you can
QR
scan
code.
the QR code right there.
Yep.
If you didn't get it, too late. Go on to the NRA website.
But you can go to the NRA website and get it. Put in your member number. It'll walk you through how to set up for password and everything like that. And it just takes you to a whole host of stuff. It's not just ILA, but it's the 2 magazines. It's everything else that you'll have access to. And it's great. It's absolutely, when we got the word roughly a month ago, it's like as soon as I got the email on it, I immediately went to the App Store and downloaded it. It's like, oh, this is perfect. I will say that if you do, every now and then there is a little quirk. Sometimes you can't always find your member number correctly. Just contact member services, explain what's going on. It might take them a little while to get back to you as they figure it out. We have had a few people that's happened with. One of them is a gentleman I know up in New York. And we got that all resolved relatively quick with it. It was a problem that they found does happen, but it's not that frequent. So that's what works out great.
Well, with any launch of an app, there's always going to be bumps. But I can tell you, I went on and it ran flawlessly, and right away I was finding stuff. It was pretty easy to navigate.
Yeah, and sometimes it's easier than the website.
Yeah,
I'll admit that.
Well, and it's all centralized in one place too. So even if it sends you to different places, it's like a hub.
It's the hub with it. So, but and again, even with the main website, we're starting to work now and doing a refresh on that. Heard that today at the members meeting. So, so we're working on all that.
Cool, excellent. Well, I got to tell you, I really appreciate your time. You come stopping by here, and it was a great conversation.
Yeah.
Nice to finally meet you. I didn't know that you followed me.
I do.
Yeah, Jackie followed me, so I appreciate a fan, I guess.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I've lived up to your expectations.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep,
and
definitely.
thank you for the work that you're doing and continue to do.
Thank you.
Thank you also for being a part of Media Row here.
Oh, this is
on
an
Voices
honor.
of the Second Amendment.
And Amanda Suffolk asked us to come last year. I was like, really? This is awesome. We were there for the inaugural one, and to be asked to come back is great. And we've got a good booth mate here with Gun Freedom Radio, and Cheryl's a great person. So it's been a lot of fun. We all know one another, all these different podcasters and influencers. A lot of us went out and had, some of them had a beer. I don't drink when I'm out, so I had some cold water.
Yeah.
But, it's just, this at our annual meeting, it's like old home week.
Yep.
And it's so nice to just see friends that unfortunately sometimes you only see in an annual meeting. But
Yep. We've got friends like that. We've been doing this for 28 years, I think. We've come to the annual meetings. And we still see some of the same people, and it's like, hey, how you doing? Catch up.
Yep.
And then you move on. Okay, we'll see you next year.
Awesome.
Or we'll see you at Great American Outdoor Show too, in your home state of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I'll be there. I do seminars every year, and the NRA is gracious enough to work out a deal where I can end up getting a booth for FOAC. So FOAC gets there.
Oh, that's good.
Booths out. Yeah.
That's good, yeah.
So trade services. So to speak.
Yep.
I don't know if I should say that on the air.
Because we're all in this
That's okay.
together.
Oh,
that's for
absolutely.
sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
Yep.
So those of you watching, if you're not a member of the NRA, I highly recommend that you join. The NRA is moving forward with full steam and doing some fantastic things, working very well with state-level organizations and opening up its reach to a whole bunch of new people. So this is Clint Macro with Meet the Pressers. Thank you guys for watching. Matt and I will be back on a little bit later on. And stay armed and be well regulated.